In the 80s, the median household income was around $21,000, very similar to what it is now. But the price of a one-bedroom apartment was on average $300. Do you see the evil that the world is doing? We need to work together to fix this problem, because if we don't, how are our kids going to afford to live? Are we thinking about that? Are we thinking about tomorrow? We need to stop talking about what's happening, and we need to start being smart and organizing.
We're not even midway through December yet, and I've had at least 4 friends call and tell me that they've lost their jobs. And then I got called for one of my jobs, and they are cutting the rate basically almost in half. One of my friends specifically, I know, was replaced, her position was replaced by AI. That's not even the worst part. The worst part is healthcare going up and the cost of heating going up. It's set to almost double by January. And the most infuriating is this whole shrinkflation thing. The prices don't always seem to have gone up at the stores. Like, I buy a ton of Christmas candy to give to everyone during the holiday season, and I went to buy what I normally buy, and I got about half for the same price. But I buy the product, the same product, but then I open the bag and it's half of what it used to be. And if they don't do that because they can't do that, then the price goes up. So essentially, almost everything is about twice as expensive, and tons of people are not even working, and people who are maybe making way less. I think there's an idea that if people are too broke to focus on anything other than just trying to survive, maybe they won't push back. And I think anyone who thinks that is gravely mistaken.
Oh, 100% agreed. Because I live in California. In San Diego, I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I moved down to San Diego to move in with my boyfriend this summer. So, like, I trust, right? Like, the cost of living, the cost of rent in California is not the same as it is, like, in Kansas City or Alabama. But my main point really is that if you are poor, working class, even middle class, is starting to, like, we're getting squeezed more and more and more, right? That, like I said, the purchasing power of the dollar is continuing to decrease as inflation skyrockets for various reasons. It was already skyrocketing, and then this administration introduced the tariffs, so, like, they're getting even worse. Unemployment rates are out of control. Rents continue to go up. And single family homes continue to be purchased by investment banking firms. So it's just like, it's dependent totally on where you live. Rent, mortgages can be much, much cheaper. And making $25 an hour in, like, Kansas City or Alabama is not the same as trying to survive on $25 an hour in California. But regardless of that, the reality is that it's not working anymore. And the lie that we've been told we can just pull ourselves up from our bootstraps and, just get a better job and make more money and budget better, it's bullshit. That's my main point, right? It's different if you're somebody that has the privilege of having some help from family, or some kind of into a job that's going to make you enough money. But again, even those high paying jobs, right? Like in the tech sector, which has been hot for a really long time because of AI, right? They're taking all those jobs away. So they don't care who you are, right? At the end of the day, the powers that be want us to suffer, and they don't like us believing that we have power. So they're doing everything they can to strip us of everything we have, because this system is cannibalistic. And I keep coming back to capitalism is cannibalistic, because you talk to the average person and it doesn't make sense. It's like, if you pay people a living wage, right? All most people really want is, like, to live in a comfortable home and to be able to go on a couple vacations a year. And if they have extra money, they're going to go out and spend it. They don't want us to have anything. That's how sociopathic they are. So my main point is that every regular person is struggling at some level, whether they admit it or not. And it is built into the system and not a personal failing. But I will tell you what it is. It's 100% bullshit. Bullshit. All of it. No one has to suffer. And I'm sick of it. And I hope more people get sick of it because, in my opinion, not enough people are angry about it.
Check this out. 3 steaks, ribeye steaks at Walmart for $75. What the?
Is anyone else scared that they're going to be at their customer service job for the rest of their life? Because I work at Subway, right? And literally, even the customers that come in are like, you are so great at this job. Like, I get so many, like, tips and people coming in specifically asking for me and, like, saying that I don't know. But I get a lot of praise from my customers because I'm really good at customer service. And I feel like it's just such an easy, like, it's not viable, like, to live off of. In all honesty, I do this full time. I'm still not making enough to fucking afford a studio apartment by myself, you know? But, I feel like it's just such an easy pipeline to fall down. And I want to, like, what's a better paying customer service job? I need to get back into, like, the restaurant industry and, like, go to some, like, fancy steakhouse, work there instead, because dude, when I was working at a small, like, kind of touristy restaurant at one point, and I was making like $16.25 base pay, but I was like past like tips and stuff that got like the tip pool, like, you know how it works. It was around like $26 that I was making at like 16, 17 years old, and I miss that. But I fear as though it's so easy to stay in the same position because, hey, I do this job really well. Hey, I know what I'm doing and I get it done real quick, and I'm like, I'm really good at my job, you know? But I don't want to be good at this job. Like, I want more for myself, but also at the same time, like, I have no real passion for the customer service industry. Like, that's not really, I have passion for community, and I have a passion for, like, creating bonds with people, and I do that with my regulars and with the people that come in, you know? Like, it's much more than just I throw out the sandwiches. I'm having conversations and getting to know them and brightening their day, you know? That's the way I see it. And I don't know, is there any other career paths out there that are like more? Because, like, even though this is supposed to be like an easy entry-level job, this job will always be a job. There will always be people in the food service industry, fast food and everything. And if people are gonna say like, oh, well, if you don't like how little you get paid, then go get a better job. What if we all did that? What if all fast food workers just got a better job? Just stop working fast food? Huh? So why aren't fast food employees, like, I feel like especially full-time, like, I should be able to pay my bills. I should be able to pay my bills with the amount of work I do and the amount of time and effort and energy I put into this place. Like, I should be able to afford to live on my own comfortably. What the heck? What the heck is wrong with this world? Okay, I'm so sick of it. Ah!
I live in my car, and you're absolutely right. We should not have to live in cars, but we do. It's because when I was 17 years old, $400 was my rent for 4 years straight. It was 2 bedrooms and a living room the size of a 3-car garage with a half bath and a very large kitchen. I had laundry hookup, and it was incredible. And electric was so cheap back then too, but fast forward to 2025, and those same apartments are literally $3,000 right now. It's pretty pathetic how incredibly sad the world is right now for us to have to live in cars just so we cannot be drowning under 3 jobs. Because I had multiple jobs. I always have multiple jobs. And for the first time in my life, I have a job and a side hustle, not multiple jobs. So, I mean, we shouldn't have to live in cars, but there's freedom that comes with it. But thank you for your support.
Okay, so how is everyone buying a house right now? Because I just got off
maybe one of the most humbling phone calls of my life. And I got quoted a 6.5% mortgage rate. Mind you, I do have an 808 credit score. I have zero debt. I'm also a registered nurse, so, I mean, in the state of Florida, which I work in, it's not great income, let's be real. But yeah, I'm also single, so one income. How am I supposed to buy a house with a mortgage rate that high? One mortgage payment would be more than one of my paychecks. So yeah, that's very depressing.
I need to know why LA is so hard to rent right now. I make $200,000 to $250,000 a year. I work my ass off. I have a 798 credit score. I just put my name in for an apartment house for $4,000 and I got denied. I wrote a cover letter. I got her phone number. We chatted. I told her my boyfriend's handy. I make more than enough money and my credit score is phenomenal. Why? I need to know. If there is anybody that could tell me why I keep getting rejected by these places where I have more than enough money to rent, I don't get it. It's so frustrating and it like breaks my heart every single time. Every single time. I am literally almost started crying when I got the rejection email today. And I know that's so silly, but like, you know, I get excited. I start designing the house and it's so exciting and it's a new fresh start. I love, love, love moving. The 4 places that we have put our name in have not gotten. I'm so confused. I do not understand.
I will never be able to afford a house. I will never be able to afford a house.
Home prices are rising nationwide as inflation remains stubborn and mortgage rates remain high as Americans compete for fewer available homes. Home prices in March were up 0.4% compared to February. Now that's the second month in a row that we have seen gains.
My parents' house that is $195,000 back in '96 is now worth like $500,000 to $700,000. My children will never be able to have the life I live because I can't afford to do it.
I don't think any of us thought when we were growing up that owning a home would be a luxury. Like maybe we thought it would be a bit difficult, but not like a luxury that basically only the rich will be able to afford.
No one that works a full-time job should be facing homelessness. And that's what my family is facing right now.
I'm being completely radicalized by the rental housing market right now. I cannot believe that you can pay over $300 in non-refundable fees just to apply for an apartment.
A big part of the reason why social life here in America is getting more and more difficult has to do with the fact that nobody can afford decent housing.
Everybody in America kind of knows, like, it's over. Like, there will be no recovery. Like, this is not like the other times. This ain't like 2008 where, oh, we'll crash and then we'll get back up.
Because right now, this economy, this world is set up to make average American families fail.
And I'm appalled that our particular kind of capitalism not only fails to deal with the housing problem, but somehow routinizes it so that the homelessness is blamed on the homeless, blaming the victim kind of, because I can see why a society does it, because if you're such a failure at providing this basic human need, you better blame somebody, because otherwise you risk blaming yourself.
Probably gonna make some people mad, but I don't feel like 90% of us make enough money to even worry about the economy crashing. Everybody is like, the stock market's gonna crash, share prices are going down, and I'm like, I never got a share in the first place. The housing market is plummeting. Maybe I'll finally be able to afford one. I want to be in a tariff tax bracket to where I can actually care. The rate we're going, no one's ever going to be able to afford a new car. I've not been able to do that anyway.
I can get my hands on a nice lump sum of money, baby. I'm buying land in another country and I'm out of here because there's nothing left here but struggle.
Hi there, my name is Tyler, and even though I work between 50 and 60 hours every single week, I am homeless living here in my car because of inflation. There wasn't any help to keep me in my apartment, even though I paid my rent on time for 3 years. I got behind just 2 weeks because I lost my job for reasons outside of my control. And I called the city, I called the county, I called the state, I called charitable organizations like Salvation Army and churches, and I was told time and time again that there was no help for me. The most that was given to me was being put on a 7-year wait list for possible affordable housing. I believe that this is wrong. There's so many hardworking people like myself, tens of thousands of hardworking Americans that are out here trying to survive, but we can't afford a place to live anymore, and we're being forced to live in our cars, and I believe that is wrong.
This is a neighborhood in California. This isn't downtown LA. This is a neighborhood where families live, where houses in this neighborhood range from around $800,000 to $900,000. And this is what the people wake up to every day. No longer can their little kids ride their bikes on the sidewalks. No longer can people walk their dogs or elderly people go for a walk because their sidewalks are full of this. Along with this, not only is it dangerous, but it is not sanitary. Where do these people go to the bathroom? Well, they go to the bathroom outside in the streets. So people are walking literally through human poop. Also, people have propane tanks. Fires have been caused because of these encampments. The city does nothing about it. The neighbors have complained over and over again, but nothing is done. Can you imagine if this was built in Gavin Newsom's neighborhood, in Nancy Pelosi's neighborhood, in Mayor Karen Bass's neighborhood? They wouldn't stand for this for one bit. But the people here, they have to live with it. No one does anything about it. The encampments continue to get larger and larger and larger. This is Gavin Newsom's California, and the people here that live in this neighborhood, they want their life back. They want their cities and streets cleaned up.
I want to show you guys something. I live in my car, right? Let me show you the situation. All right, I live in Silicon Valley, right? And let me show you just a street that I'm walking on. Luxury apartments, right? Condominium type, really luxury style. These are like 30 to 40% full because companies like Essex, Prometheus, things like that, they're going around telling their investors that people can afford $4, $5, $6 grand a month for apartments. And you know what people are doing? They said no. They said no. I'm not paying that. Absolutely not. So that's the bubble that's about to pop, is these companies telling investors, Prometheus, Essex, real estate companies telling investors that people can afford $4 or $5 grand a month when they can't. And especially now with inflation and the way that things are going, they're really not going to be able to afford it. So yeah, that's the type of protest that people are putting now. They're just refusing to pay the ridiculous prices.
You know that the U.S. poverty line is actually more closely a measure of starvation than poverty? In the 1960s, an economist for the Social Security Administration named Molly Orshansky devised a formula that she believed would be able to capture the minimum amount of income a family of four needed in order to live a nutritionally sound life. Orshansky took a couple of things into consideration. In the 1950s, which is the period that she was kind of looking at while she was making these calculations, she noticed that most American families spent about 1/3 of their income on food. Based on something called the Economic Food Plan from the USDA, and because she noticed that 1/3 of income was spent on food, she took that Economic Food Plan price from the USDA and multiplied it by 3 to come up with what she believed would be an accurate poverty line, a measure of poverty. Well, that doesn't work anymore because now Americans spend much more money on food and healthcare. A much higher percent of their income goes there. But did you know that there was a recent study that said that actually that's more of a measure of starvation, and that the true poverty line in this country for a family of four should be closer to $140,000 a year. The official poverty line threshold for a family of four in this country is $1,000 a year. Let that sink in. You can't budget your way out of something like that. You just can't.
How did the American dream die? How did the middle class die? I'm going to tell you, it started in the 1980s with trickle-down economics that did not work. They decided to give tax cuts to the rich and corporations saying that money would trickle down. It didn't. It just made the rich richer. Then we greenlit stock buyback. So instead of when the productivity was going up, instead of giving workers more money, they just bought back their stocks so the shareholders could make profit and the executives could get bonuses. Then we had leverage buyouts, and the government didn't regulate leverage buyouts, and that was the start of private equity basically buying up everything so that they could make more money. Then we moved away from pensions to 401ks, which essentially just took the responsibility and accountability of the company to take care of their workers with the retirement and put it on to individuals, but we were never taught economics in high school, so how the fuck are we supposed to know about compound interest and investing? But they may said the 401k was better than the pension when it wasn't. Then they started shipping our jobs overseas, building the middle class of other countries so that they could make more profit, destroying the middle class here. Then we started ramping up the borrowing money and getting into debt as a country, which devalues our dollar. And then in 2008, we had predatory lending, which crashed the housing market, fucked over so many Americans. And then we used taxpayer money to bail out the banks. And when all the houses were cheap, the rich went and bought those up. And that's when you started to see the rent start to increase around the 2010s into the 2015s. And then in 2011, we allowed super PACs to exist. So billionaires can now buy elections, and they use that money on attack ads, which divides the country. Divide and conquer, and that's what they did. In 2020, we had the pandemic, which both sides of the aisle handled like absolute shit, shut down all small businesses, all the money went to the top, the rich got richer, they printed trillions of dollars more, which people needed, but what did all the people do? We spent the money because we needed to spend the money, and where did that money go? To the top, and they got richer. And lastly, they decided during the pandemic, let's lower the interest rates on buying a home to 2.5% to 3% so that people could refinance and get ahead. But no, all that really did was give the green light to a bunch of rich people to basically borrow free money and buy up all the fucking housing so that we can no longer own a home. And that all ended in 2021. Then we've experienced 25% inflation since the pandemic. And here we are in 2025, and we no longer have a middle class, and the American dream is dead.
I have so many people in my comments wondering, why do you work 3 jobs? First of all, having 4 kids is not cheap. Yes, they're my kids. I chose to have them. Why do you think I'm carrying my butt to work and providing for my kids for what they need? I'm not asking anybody else to take care of my kids. Like, this is why I work so much, to be able to take care of my kids. I can't help it if I can't get child support. Like, I've tried. I can't help it when they're working under the table and not getting the money. And if you don't know me, my name's Jamie. I'm a mom to 4, and I work 3 jobs. My full-time job, I'm a 911 dispatcher, and my other 2 jobs, I waitress. Yeah, I'm tired. This is why I'm coming up on TikTok to post so I can earn money, so I can slow down and spend time with my kids. I had a woman in the comment yesterday saying this is how she lost her mom because her mom worked so much. And that is my biggest fear of working this much. I don't want to cry. But I don't want to work these jobs, but I have to. You know, rent is outrageous now. Rent is ridiculous. Groceries are ridiculous. Why? I don't understand why prices keep going up. And you know what's sad? This is the honest truth. Things are never going to come back down. They are never going to come back down. They're just going to keep going up. So I feel for my kids when they go out into the real world and have to take care of themselves. You know, my oldest son is 18, almost 19. There's no way he could go move out on his own. There's no way. He couldn't afford it. I don't know how they expect, you know, everyone, you know, all the older generation, why these kids still living at home. Well, Grandpa, rent back then ain't what it is now. Like, rent is quadrupled in price. It's a struggle. But yeah, this is why I work 3 jobs. I have to provide for my kids. Anyways, I'm headed into work to work at Buffalo Wild Wings. Say a prayer that I make big money because I gotta buy groceries.